Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. I'm 3 for 3 today. Okay, don't say I don't treat you, alright? This video is a little bit more of a deep dive into all the other rumours we've been hit with today and all the information that we've been hit with about bids rejected, interest, players potentially leaving. There's quite a bit in here today, so buckle up. There's a few things that I want to talk about. First and foremost, the big one. The guy on the thumbnail. And I got sent it last night by a friend, and my comment back was, I'm ready to get my heart broken all over again. Nicolo Zaniolo. Now, I've spoken about Nicolo Zaniolo before. We were heavily linked to him in the summer. It was a loan deal with an obligation of about 60 million euros, 50 to 60 million euros. He shortly after that dislocated his shoulder, a freak injury. Now, he can be injury prone, but dislocated shoulder is not something that's common. It's a freak injury. Italian's wonder kid. He's one of the best wonder kids they've had for a long, long time. He plays at AS Roma. And honestly, when I have watched him, I think he's been fantastic. He scored the winning goal in the Europa Conference League final last year for Roma. And he's been a fantastic player for so long. He's quite versatile. He could play across the front three. He could play wing back if he really wanted. A kind of similar sort of style to a Kulusevski in that regard. Now, this comes from Di Marzio, obviously a very reliable source in Italy. Roma want between 35 to 40 million euros, and Spurs have made a loan offer with an obligation to buy, which I would assume is within that range, right? Gazzetta Italy also developed on that story and said Zaniolo wants to leave and could leave as early as this month. Right, straight off the get-go, I'm excited. Okay, Zaniolo, if we're talking about an attacking player, that's the guy. That's probably the best attacking player that we've been linked with for a long time, okay? Better than Richarlison, better than Kulusevski, better than Bale, in my opinion, right? He has the ability to be world-class. You know, with Chelsea by getting in João Felix and Mudryk from Shakhtar Donetsk, this guy has the exact same level of ability. He's been heavily linked with some of the best clubs in the world. He's fantastic. He'd fit in nicely to the Serie A thing that we've got going on, but also he would suit our system. And that's the important thing. He'd suit the system. Would he make us better? Yes. Full stop. Final. Done. He would. Okay. Can I see it happening this month? A part of me is a bit sceptical. A part of me is a bit pessimistic about it, if I'm honest, because Spurs break your heart every day, multiple times a day. Okay. Daniel Levy finds a way to ruin your day a little bit, right? Antonio Conte finds a way to say something that makes you go a bit on edge as to say, is he staying? Is he leaving? You know, Alistair Golden comes in and throws out a haymaker that this is happening at the Spurs. And you're just thinking, for once, can we just have a peaceful time? Can we enjoy being a football club that runs, you know, efficiently, without drama, without hate, really? The answer is no, we can't. But, you know, it's a nice thing. It's a nice feeling, isn't it? Yes, this is a guy that I definitely want, okay? And can I see it happening? I'm going to say no, but I'll always hold that glimmer of hope that Mourinho goes, yeah, actually, he's okay to leave. Because these two sources have also said that Roma are happy for him to go. They just want that sort of money. It kind of writes itself. Do we finally get the man? Do we finally get him after all this bloody time? I hope. It's a hope that kills you. Moving on. Just a quick one. We made a bid for Leandro Trossard a couple of days ago, which quoted as Brighton, quote, laughed it off. Now, I've got Brighton fans that are my friends, and I also said to them, I too laughed it off because 12 million for him is a joke. It's just a joke. He's got 18 months left on a deal. You were never going to get him for that. You're going to get him for double that, maybe 2.5 times that. It's been rejected, and Spurs have no longer got any interest in Leandro Trossard because Leandro Trossard is now off to Arsenal, okay? I was about to say Bayern Munich for some reason there. Arsenal. The deal is about 30 million as well, so I think Brighton are getting a deal that they want. I think Arsenal are getting a guy they want. Obviously, they lost out because Chelsea decided to steal every player under the sun. That's fine. For me, he was a good player, but I even said we could do better, and Zaniolo, in my opinion, is better. So there you go. That is the upgrade. That's a level game changer where we can say, yeah, you can have the player. He wouldn't have started at Spurs or Arsenal. He just wouldn't have. But Zaniolo has the ability to come in and actually start at both clubs, in my opinion. That's how good I rate Zaniolo. Now, just sort of talking about attacking players as to the situation that you probably find if we're going to get Zaniolo, someone has to leave. Now, you probably heard the story a few weeks ago that Spurs rejected the extension offer on Lucas Moura's contract, and he's basically free to go in the summer. Well, there's a suitor that's come free, a suitor that probably could really do with him. And actually, I'd really rate him for going there, and I'd really like the move. And it's still in the Premier League. Everton. And I think Richarlison probably has a part to play in this and say, hey, it's a good fan base. You work hard for Everton, they'll love you. And you ask an Everton fan about Richie, oh my God, they love him. They don't care what he's done. They absolutely bloody love him. He would do very well at Everton, in my opinion. He'd start a lot of games. I think the attacking players they'd probably love the look of him. I think a lot of that team needs a fresh sort of investment. I would probably see that Spurs would go, if we want Anthony Gordon maybe in the future, why don't we get more over there with less hassle? So when it comes to, Gordon, if he continues the trajectory he's on, becoming a player that you can get at, maybe we're going to go to the front of the line because we've got a good relationship with Everton. I would hope there's a few million involved. I'm not asking for like 12, 15, just like 3 to 5, right? I think that's a reasonable amount, 3 to 5, and they take on his wages. I think it's a good deal for Spurs. If you're clearing off 100 grand of wages, you're getting 5 mil for 6 months towards the summer. If you're talking 4 times 6 is 24, 100k a week. You can kind of work out the deal's worth about 7.5 million for Spurs, right? Quick maths. Would I allow him to leave? Yes, if we get Zaniolo. Simple as that. If we get Zaniolo, let Moura go. Let him go and get minutes. Let him play his football. And do you know what? It probably wouldn't be a bad thing that he could... Moura on his day is unstoppable. His day is very rare though. But if his day comes at home to a top 6 club and it helps us out, win. There you go, win. So yeah, I really hope that this is a deal that Everton can do. And I really hope this is a deal that Spurs can do on the other end for Zaniolo. And everyone becomes a winner. Roma gets some money. We get the player that we've wanted for a long time. Everton go and get a player that can help them stay up. Because that money for staying up is honestly game-changing. For a team that's got financial fair play issues, that's game-changing. Final news story for today. So we've talked about, obviously, Zaniolo. We've talked about Trossard. We've talked about Moura. Last one. I'm sick of saying his name. Until he signs with Spurs, and I don't even think I'll be happy when he signs Spurs because I'm so sick of saying his name. Pedro Porro. We've actually been told we've had a bid rejected, okay? Now, give you a backstory as to what Sporting Lisbon want, and then I'm going to tell you what we've offered. And there's been claims of 2 bids, but I'm going to talk about one that's the most prominent one first. But anyway, give you an idea, Sporting Lisbon want 45 million because that's his release clause. They said, pay the 45 million, he's all yours, happy days. Everyone's happy. Spurs have said we don't want to pay the 45 million because that means if we do it, we have to do it up front, and that's not really a feasible situation financial fair play wise. Unless you're Chelsea, who have just endless amounts of money. Anyway, so the offer that was made is Spurs have made an offer of 35 million plus a player. Now, the player hasn't been determined. Fabrizio Romano's even said, I'm still trying to work out and get the information as to who that player is, right? First and foremost, we're in the ballpark. We are. Who that player would be, I would probably hazard a guess it's Emerson for the right wing back position. Would it be Tanganga on loan? Probably not. Would it be Davinson Sanchez? Maybe. I think Davinson Sanchez actually has a slight market, as to say, you could probably get 10 to 15 million out of Davinson Sanchez, if I'm honest. I would think, yeah, the deal, we're getting closer. And I know we're insisting, and Pedro Porro, this is all from Romano, that Pedro Porro, he wants to go to Spurs. And Lisbon is saying, we're happy for you to go, but they need to get what we want. They need to get to what we want for him. I don't see 45 million happening, if I'm honest. I know Lisbon are difficult, but I don't see it happening. What the other deal was, and I think it was similar, but without the player. So about 35 million, and I think we waived the 50% that we would get if Marcus Edwards was to be sold, which I think we would get something like 25 to 30 million out of that deal if he was sold, because we get 50% of the release clause, which is something like 54 million, I think. So it's like 27, give or take, million either side sort of thing. Which in theory, when you work out that deal, it's about a £65 million deal. But obviously that relies on Marcus Edwards playing very well and someone coming in and getting in for that money. I can see why they've rejected both, if I'm honest. I can see why they rejected. They probably can get someone that's really cheap to come in and play right wing back, or get someone for a few million, bring him in, develop, sell him on, right? Other than, instead of Emerson. They probably go, no, we'd actually rather you give us the money now, we develop the team, we get ourselves back up the leagues. They have struggled the last sort of couple of years. We'll still sell Marcus Edwards if he kicks on and does really well, and we'll get the money out of it. I don't blame him for rejecting both, but I think Spurs are using the fact that Pedro Porro wants to leave as leverage against Sporting Lisbon. Will it work? They are difficult people to budge, but I can see as to why they're doing it. At the same time, you want him in. Is it worth a few million, battling? Yes, it is, because we can't afford to pay 45 million euros up front. That's why they're battling. It's not that they don't want him. It's not that they're not trying to play hardball. But this is the way business works. You go in with a lower offer, and you try and bring them from up here and you from down there into the middle. They're up there. We've come towards the middle. They're not budging. We will probably end up getting to budge. The deal will probably be like 44 million euros, right? But we can do it in installments. It'll be something like that where we've saved £1 or £2 million, but it's installments that is a bit more feasible and a bit more manageable for us. So that's the end of the video, guys. Zaniolo, Pedro Porro, these sort of players, is that enough for you? Let me know what you think. Obviously, I know there's talks about central midfielder coming in at some point. We'll have to wait and see what that is. It was Frank Kessie. It was the first room we've had. We've heard nothing ever since that. Let me know what you think, guys, about the players that are coming in, who are going out. Let me know what you think needs to happen as well. But anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe. We are rocking. We are rolling. And hit the bell notification, because there's more and more of these coming. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, lads.